the last chapter section in chapter 5 finally. I know you've seen the quadratic formula, but instead of doing all of these templates, 4 of them, we're just going to teach the quadratic formula. I'm not going to talk about the discriminant with you, and I know you've seen the quadratic formula, so we're just going to do one template today. So here's the quadratic formula. It's used to solve a quadratic equation, and here's the formula. So basically, before I start, your equation has to be in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 in order to use this formula. The a is the number in front of the x squared, the b is the number in front of the x, and the c is the number alone. So there's the formula, and basically I'm just going to go through 2 problems with you, and that's it. The first thing is, in this Algebra 2 book, maybe not the Algebra 1 book, they might say solve x squared minus 2x equals a negative 4 by using the quadratic formula. But first, you must get the equation into standard form. So I added 4 to both sides. So now that it's in this form, I know that my a in this problem is equal to 1, and I know that my b is the number in front of the x, which is a negative 2, and I know that my c is equal to 4. You don't have to do this. I think your Algebra 1 teacher made you find the a, b, and c. You don't have to do this. I was just showing you what the a, the b, and the c was. And now all you're going to do is put it back up into here. So the opposite of b, well, here's a negative 2. So the opposite of a negative 2 is a positive 2. So I'm just going to follow that. So I'm done with that part. And then put the plus and the minus. Done with that part. I need to put the square root. So I'm done with that part. I need to square my b. So a negative 2 times a negative 2 is going to end up being a positive 4. Whenever you square something, this number right here out in front should always be positive. Minus the 4. The a in this problem is 1. And the c in this problem is 4. And I got that from my little chart over to the left side right here. Divided by the 2 times the a, where the a is 1, so 2 times 1 is 2. And this is called the quadratic formula. And now we're just going to simplify it. 2 plus or minus the square root of something over 2. And remember, before you can subtract, you have to multiply first. So I need to multiply these together. So it's going to be 4 minus 4 times 1 times 4 is 16, which is equal to 2 plus or minus the square root of something over 2. 4 take away 16 is a negative 12. Okay, and now we're going to simplify this. Remember, a negative root, we learned what to do with the negative root. And the negative root, the negative comes out to be the letter I. And then this is made up of a 2, and a 3. So the 2 comes out, but the root 3 has to stay inside, divided by 2. And then one last thing, notice that this one has a 2, this whole group has a 2, and this has a 2, so you can take a 2 out of all of these. 2 divided by 2 is 1, plus or minus I root 3 over 1 if you want, or you don't need the over 1 part. Okay, let's do one more, and then that's it for today's homework. I like saying that a is equal to 2 because everything's over to the left side, so it has to be in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So the a is 2, the b is 3, and the c is a negative 4. And the formula is the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. This formula will be on the test. You do not have to memorize it. Again, that formula will be on the test. You do not have to memorize it. So the opposite of b is a negative 3. Plus or minus the square root of 3 times 3 is 9. B squared is 9. Minus 4 times the a, which is 2, and times the c, which is a negative 4, all over 2a. Well, look what a is. A is 2, so 2 times 2 is 4. Hopefully I'm not going too fast, but you've already had this formula in Algebra 1. Again, you have to leave the 9. You can multiply these together. You've got a negative of a negative, which ends up becoming a positive, and 4 times 2 times 4 is 32. Negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 41 divided by 4. You have to simplify a radical if you can. No, nothing goes into 41. You cannot simplify the square root of 41. Final answer. So that's all you're doing for today is called the quadratic formula. I think 2 examples are plenty for the quadratic formula. The only thing I ask you is, let's say when you get down and you get a negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 18 over 7 for some reason. This cannot be the answer because we have spent time and time how to simplify a radical. You cannot leave the radical like that. You have to come over here and say that this is made up of 2 times 3 times 3, which makes 18. And for every 2 things, you can take 1 out. So make sure you simplify radicals anywhere you're in a math class.